Hi there viewers, I'm the Extraordinary Tourist, and today I'm doing a skateboard setup. I'm going to be setting up this particular board, which you may be wondering sort of why would I be setting up a board that looks fairly old and fairly thrashed. But this board, I wouldn't say it has a great deal of importance to me other than this particular deck was one that I bought when I started to try and get back into skateboarding after a few years of not skating at all. And this is like a cheap $20 skateboard that I bought, mainly because I wasn't sure if I was really going to get back into skateboarding and I didn't want to spend too much money on it. And I personally happen to think the cheap boards are okay when you're just starting out, or if you're not sure if you're going to commit to riding a skateboard. The only thing that's really wrong with them in terms of being a beginner is that they always come with really bad wheels and bearings. So what I did was I actually bought myself a decent pair of, I think these were called Power Logo wheels, but definitely Power Peralta wheels. I think they're either 95 or 96A hardness. And I put those on, and once you get decent actual professional skateboarder wheels onto pretty much any skateboard, it generally improves the performance of the board in terms of rolling. If you are ever going for cheap decks, always look for cheap decks that have metal trucks rather than plastic ones, because they're going to last you and at least until you start getting more experienced and start doing more advanced tricks, whereas the plastic ones are just going to end up bending up and whatever before you even get anywhere. So this is the board I'm setting up. The other reason I kept it, because when I moved over to South Australia I actually gave this to my partner's son to skate, and I bought a new board. And at the time when he got it there was nothing on the grip tape here, and I was doing grip tape art at the time, or had done a lot of grip tape art at the time, and he asked me to draw on these characters here, this one and this one here, which I think both of those are world industry characters. Drew these things more than about 17 years ago, so I'm not too familiar with those characters, and like all the rest of these graphics on here weren't done by me, they were done by my partner's son. I think he was about 10 or 11 years old at the time. The main reason I've kept it is because when he outgrew the skateboard, I decided he sort of left it kicking around the house, and I kept hold of it because of these things here, which were pretty much the last things that I ever did in the way of drawing on grip tape till about earlier this year, so these are from like 17 years ago. Anyway, this is the sort of cheap deck. I'm going to set it up, and I'm setting it up with bits and pieces that I have kicking around. There's no point really putting good stuff on this, I'm just setting it up so it looks like a skateboard again. I've got these old trucks here, which, as far as I can tell, this is a Venture truck. It's got Venture on the base plate, and that's a Venture hanger. There's a Venture hanger on here, but this base plate is actually a Veriflex base plate, and you can see one of the holes is broken, which doesn't actually matter too much because I've only got 7 deck bolts anyway, so I don't have a spare one to go through that, so it doesn't really matter. So that's what we're doing, and I'm just going to get on with it. see how it skates. So overall, I've got to say that this board, apart from the fact that the trucks could do with a bit of tightening up, actually skates fairly well. The wheels and bearings are pretty good, and I'd actually consider putting those wheels on another board that I'm actually using rather than just one that I'm setting up for the sake of setting up, really. So, but yeah, overall, still quite a good skateboard, even though it looks pretty thrashed.